This plant has been popping up all over my garden. See, it's on the edge of my raised bed there. Here's another one that is surviving the hot temps. Here's one. And then here's the old one, the big one. Dead, right? And this one's sprouting off of it. So it was a mystery for a while, you guys, what type of plant it was, but I found it. I had forgotten that I spread some of this seed out, thinking it was rather like a dandelion. But turns out this is part of the chicory family, and it is a great green, and as you can tell, it goes a lot further into the warm season than any of my other greens, and it is delicious. So I'm gonna pull these up actually and put them in the aquaponic system, but I let one go to seed and I saved lots of seed from it. I'll show you. Thank goodness I have plenty of seed here. I think so many people are intimidated by collecting seed, and it's really nothing to be intimidated about. It is so easy. Just let it go to bloom. Let the seed pods form. Let them dry. Pinch it over a plate. And then just pick up all the chaff pieces that you don't want. So easy. And you're left with gobs and gobs of seed. And this is just from one plant. You don't need to let the whole bed go to harvest. You can just leave one single plant of the kind you like. And look at all the seed. Look at all that seed that I'm gonna have to share and for next year. This is a really fun thing to be doing inside, collecting seed for the cool season when the temperatures outside are spiking up to over 100. So yeah, this is like comforting for the soul during these hot temperatures. Dreaming of fall, dreaming of cold temperatures, dreaming of delicious crunchy greens. Don't be intimidated by collecting seed. It is super easy. Find your favorite things and then don't ever have to buy seed for them again. And plus you have plenty to share with your friends, which is really always fun. And stuff to barter with. That's always really fun. This is one of the others that I really liked, that I have some seed out there for this also that I will be gathering up. Mizuna, so good, just fresh, cut in salads. It looks almost like the other plant but different. I mean, purple stems, red purplish stems, and just a beautiful leaf that was so absolutely tasty. Cool season crop. And Baker Creek sent it to me free with my order. Thank you, Baker Creek, for this new plant that I'm collecting the seed from. It's going to be a staple on my winter garden for sure. Today, you guys, I have to do a hard thing. I'll leave a video of why I think this hive died out, what I saw coming, kind of the process of how we got to a hive box that is empty, that the hive died out. One reason that I saw where I thought there was something wrong with that hive, that it was weakening, is this. It's really hard to film. I don't know if you guys can see, but there have been some bees crawling around on these leaves and just struggling. Obviously, they can't fly. They're really struggling. And not just like one bee, but tons. There's not that many out right now. I see another one maybe. There's one. Just struggling. So I had never seen that before. That was really odd to me. This crawling around in the leaves, not able to fly. Obviously something drastically wrong. So I looked it up, and you can look up things on the internet and get, you know, you can look up a health problem and get anywhere from, you know, you're gonna die tomorrow to just take a supplement, you'll be fine. I don't know. So anyway, same with bees. But definitely they were indicating, they said the consensus was as an indication of like a hive virus or mite load. So I was telling my new beekeeping buddy the other day about varroa mite. A lot of people don't know that the bees are really having a hard time right now because they're attacked by this varroa mite. And what happens is the varroa mite leaves the eggs in the cells, and the larvae hatch out. It's almost like for us it would be a huge tick attached to us from birth. It would just be draining our resources, draining our energy, our whole lives. And then of course we would be unhealthy and we would die. So and along with that tick comes a lot of different viruses that are spread throughout the hive. So it weakens the body, and then they're getting viruses. So there are some things to do about the varroa mite, but none of them are easy or inexpensive. One is a mist treatment of, well, you melt, it's hard to explain, but you melt some acid in the hive, and it causes a mist throughout the hive. And so you're trying to kill the varroa mite without killing the bees. And you have to get a respirator to wear, because if you breathe that mist in, it will permanently damage your lungs. So, and that is not a cheap device. Another way that they're doing now a lot of is they put heat, and you can only do it in Langstroth hive. I haven't found a way to do it in top bars, but you put like a heat mat, you slide a heat mat into the Langstroth hive, and you heat the hive up so much that the varroa mite dies, but the bees do not. Now that device is not inexpensive either, and a lot of bee associations buy one and then they pass it around and all use it. So there are also some insecticide strips that you can put in there that you definitely can't put in when you're going to harvest honey, because you don't want that in your honey. And I'm not sure of their effectiveness. I've heard different things. So there's no real easy or an expensive way to kill this varroa mite without killing your bees, basically. So some beekeepers subscribe to kind of a hands-off policy of kind of survival of the fittest. And there's some controversy to doing that. It could take hundreds of years for bees. They've seen some indication that bees might be becoming hygienic, like cleaning these mites off each other, or actually pulling the larvae that infected out and throwing them out of the hive, being able to tell which larvae is infected by this mite and which is not. But you know, it could be hundreds of years before that the bees change in that way. And scientists are definitely investigating all sorts of things, from fungi to different ways that the bees are affected, and how they could fight this varroa mite, and different ways that we can treat for them as a beekeeper. But then there are beekeepers that would be really critical of this method, and really critical of me for even suggesting it, because they're saying, like, it's kind of their attitude is, you have a pet here, say you had dogs, and you had a huge infestation of ticks and fleas on those dogs. and you weren't doing anything about it. Maybe you don't have the money to do anything about it. You know, maybe there isn't an effective treatment, but still you should try your best to do whatever you can to help those dogs, or you shouldn't have dogs. So the same, just apply that analogy to bees. So some beekeepers would be really critical of me not stepping in. And hey, I can take it. But yeah, I'm open to all discussion about it. But it is a controversial topic of how to treat this varroa mite that is really hurting our bees right now. So it does seem to be a constant battle in all homesteading aspects, like our chickens get coccidiosis, a parasite that they battle with. My friend, her sheep get parasites and worms that she has to constantly medicate and battle. And our bees now have this thing that they're fighting, that we have to choose how to treat or not to treat. So, yeah. But let me show you something interesting. This hive is one that I keep with my brother-in-law over at his house, and they just thrive. Every year they really thrive. They're such a strong colony. And they swarm every year pretty much, but they just fill up that top bar, fill up with honey, just like clockwork. They are just so strong. So what type of bee is this that can be so strong year after year? So we split this hive. So when we were splitting it, that means taking like half of the bees and some larvae and some honey, and we did get them a new queen. So this maybe doesn't have the same genetics as the other hive. But they, again, are doing great. They filled up that whole section to the queen excluder, and then this whole part will be the part we harvest honey out of because it won't have any eggs or larvae in it. Now this hive is only about a year old, so time will tell on this one, but they seem really strong and really building out so fast. Some beekeepers say that top bar hives are a more natural option for the bees because they can choose their own comb size. They're not building on the plastic framework that you give them. They're just building straight down and making their own home just like they would in a hollow tree. But who knows? Maybe a top bar hive is easier for bees to react to these challenges, these pest challenges. Don't know. That's also a pretty controversial subject. It's definitely easier to beekeep with a Langstroth. Easier to harvest honey, easier to check your hive, easier to manage your hive. These we pretty much just leave alone, and they do their thing, and they swarm when they get too big or too many, and they produce honey for us. Pretty much a hands-off approach. So that's kind of just a recap on some challenges that bees are facing right now, and some challenges and decisions that a beekeeper has to make when they're managing bees. So I have to clean this hive out. And it's just depressing. It's hard. No getting around it. It's like an animal dying on the homestead. It's a mourning and it's a loss. And these are my birthday bees that the Father gave me on my birthday. And you always question, whenever an animal or a hive dies, you question, could I have done something different? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? Perhaps I should have done this. Yeah, so it's just hard. There's no getting around it. Now this kind of comes at a depressing time. I think it's depressing in Dallas-Fort Worth, at least, when the heat sets in. For someone who loves to be outside, it's just hard. We're hunkered down in the afternoon, kind of like somebody up north in the wintertime, the middle of winter. You're like, oh, we're getting cabin fever. This is getting old really quick. Because it's just hard to go out in the middle of the day especially when you have a 2-year-old. Because with a 2-year-old, like to stay active. Which is impossible when you can't go out in the heat of the day. Because it is over 100 degrees, you guys. Every afternoon now. The other thing that's kind of depressing is with Eli having COVID, I had to cancel. I had my appointment to get fish for my aquaponics system with my friend. I had to cancel that. And anyway, I had some fun things planned that I had to cancel just to hunker down with him. And again, it's just kind of that memory of, oh yeah, the lockdown. Oh yeah, we couldn't go where we want when we wanted to go places. Oh yeah, I remember that feeling. That's not a good feeling. So my brain kind of says, oh, this feels the same. Kick her into fight and flight. This isn't good. We don't want to do this again. So, just a little bit depressing. Oh my goodness. That beautiful empty comb, you guys. They never got a chance, I don't think, to come up into this top box. But already I see that the wax moth is setting in. Here's one. The wax moths thrive on the wax and move in. Kind of ruin the wood of your hive, and they're disgusting. And there's a wax moth right there that lays the larvae. Ugh. So I will go put these frames in the freezer. And you can store them with some insecticide. You cover them up. You put like insecticidal strips to keep the moths away. So you can store this beautiful wax without it getting ruined. But yeah, so it's just all kind of depressing, and I'm a little bit down, just to be honest. But we win our battles with praise and thanksgiving. Tonight is encounter night at church, so I will go praise my Father, and I've got so much to be thankful for. And I just remembered, maybe I can't go to encounter night if Eli's got COVID. Maybe I should stay home with him, probably. But that's okay. I can praise my Heavenly Father anywhere. I do not need to be in church to do that, right? All right, you guys, if you got any encouragement, send it now. Are you somewhere where it gets hot, so hot that it's kind of depressing, that you kind of get cabin fever and get pinned in? Leave it in the comments if you are, and tell me your location. And if you have any words of encouragement in this time, I would love them. And prayer. Prayer for Eli. Another moth. Okay. All right. I will turn this wax into refine it for salves, and a friend of mine would like some for candles, so we'll see. He wants to use his lard, or tallow, if you will, to try to make some old-fashioned candles, so we'll see. I've tempted to put it in my top bar hive to help them out, just like you would put frames filled out. But this could come with a very bad virus, so I'm not going to do that. They're doing fine. As sad as this is, I'm glad I can use it for something. All of a sudden I'm attracting lots of bee attention tearing into this hive, cleaning it up. So that's okay. what the heroes get on their way. Okay, I live right near a fire department, so love hearing the heroes go out and save people. Anyway, I'm attracting a lot of bee attention, so I'm gonna go ahead and abandon this. I'll come back tonight and get it all. But on a more positive note, I'm gonna start a new beginning right now. So we'll end this video with thoughts of maybe a new beginning. We'll see. Keep moving forward.